know what? I changed my mind. This is a really hard game, but it's not as hard as the 10 games or even 20 games that I'm about to present. 10 that I consider the hardest JRPGs of all time, and 10 honorable mentions at the end. And as usual, I have one clarification to make. Yeah, you know me. So the thing is that I am not including those games in which you have to grind and over again, like, I don't know, Final Fantasy 12 or Dragon Quest 8, that if you don't grind, you technically can't beat the game, but if you do grind, it's a walk in the park, right? And there are other games that if you play them on easy mode, they're just very easy, like the Persona games or the Star Ocean games. Even on easy mode, they're hard, but not as hard as the following games, because in this list, there will be games that even if you play them on easy mode, they're just really hard. And even if you keep grinding and grinding over and over again, they're still really hard. So with that clarified, my friends, let's begin. Number 10, Saga Frontier 2 for the PlayStation 1. Saga Frontier 2 is one of those non-linear video games that suggests exploration more than anything else. Its predecessor did it absolutely wrong, in my opinion, but here it was quite the contrary. Exploring the world of this game was so much better. Nevertheless, it was still one of those where the fuck do I go kind of games. Without a walkthrough or a guide of any sorts, you're bound to get lost, frustrated, and rage quit in Saga Frontier 2, because during your so-called superior exploration, you get into all sorts of really hard battles, be it against bosses or normal enemies. Some of the bosses are so unforgiving that you'll be begging for a guide to tell you how to properly beat them. It's a turn-based RPG, as you can see, but it requires heavy strategy thinking that will change every now and then depending on the enemy. Saga Frontier 1 was a huge mess of a game, but it wasn't as hard as this. The developers even said that they prefer gamers quitting out of frustration than out of boredom. I wonder what they were really trying to do here. But anyways, with the right strategy and a huge lot of patience, you can overcome this truly hard RPG. Number 9, Odin Sphere for the PlayStation 2. Nobody ever talks about how damn hard this game is. It's one of my favorite PS2 JRPGs, and trust me, I love it with a passion. But damn is it hard! Even if you play the game on easy mode, it's still extremely frustrating! Well, it's an action RPG in 2D with beautiful art and a very good story that keep you entangled in its marvelous webs. You will experience here trial and error, luck, and the use of your best controlling skills to at least have a chance against many of the enemies or bosses this game has to offer. It's a very addicting experience, which is why so many people love it, including me, and we all manage to withstand all the horrible exasperation it comes with it. The thing is the same as with many other games. Your characters, no matter how much you level up, are complete weaklings against pretty much anybody in this game. You really gotta get used to each one of them pretty quickly. However, the satisfaction you get from hitting anything, planning your little strategies, running around, using your skills, recovering, and even button mashing your controller when it comes to fighting, trust me, is truly a superb experience. Man, this game is awesome, but very, very hard, even on easy mode. Growlancer Wayfarer of Time takes the 8th place. The first strategy RPG of the list. A real-time masterpiece that belongs to a series that I really love, also with a passion. All Growlancer games could probably be on this list, but I chose the hardest of them all. The 4th one for the PSP. Without showing some spoilers about the battles, I can't properly talk about them, so I'll tell you how hard this game is at the best of my ability. However, if you don't mind some of those little spoilers, take a look at my Rage Quit video that I'll leave at the end. Yeah, you heard that right. Rage Quit. I rage quit on this damned game, but I managed to beat it. It's brutal! Growlancer 4 has several of the hardest real-time strategy missions I have ever played in my life. Seriously. In some of them, you'll have to defend some NPCs or some points without getting a single one of your characters killed. In some others, you will have to prevent an enemy from escaping, while in others, you'll have to defeat all enemies or certain enemies in a very short amount of time. Yes, I'll say it again. This game is brutal, and it's no wonder why it has such an ominous fame. Number 7. Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume. Well, you already know how I love complaining about this game. To be a redundant gamer who wants to share with the world his love-hate relationship with this controversial spin-off. I love the Valkyrie Profile series, and believe me, I love this game too, but its difficulty is way beyond my hatred. I got so frustrated in these strategy RPGs so many times that I didn't even finish it. I played 2 of the routes all the way through the final stages, and that was as far as I got. The big problem here is that your characters are, once again, very weak against most of the enemies or bosses, and while you always do very little damage to them, even if you're in a combo, because those combos are the true core of the battle system and you technically can't beat the game without them, these enemies, especially some bosses, always end up kicking your ass. This guy here is a boss, but trust me, and I've shown it before in previous videos, even normal enemies can brutalize you in a very unfair fashion. It is truly one of the hardest JRPGs I've ever played, especially in the tactical genre, so hard that it left a deep mark within my gaming soul. Number 6. Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne for the PS2. There just can't be a hardest JRPGs list without this motherfucker showing up. It's one of the most infamous video games ever made precisely because of its relentless difficulty, specifically at some boss battles. Well, I decided to use the most popular one in this video to prove my point. This guy appears in many lists in YouTube as one of the hardest or most unfair boss fights ever in role-playing video games. I agree, it's very unfair. For those who don't know, this is actually Shin Megami Tensei 3. The previous 2 titles never left Japan, I wonder why, and while it is an extremely difficult game, it is also extremely good. The thing is that you have to not only keep grinding, because that's actually not that necessary, but to keep fusing demons and rethinking your strategies to win against bosses like this one. What kind of weaknesses they have, what kind of weaknesses your characters have, what kind of buffs and debuffs will prove effective, what kind of attacks, etc. Nocturne might look like your everyday turn-based RPG, but trust me, there's a big strategy involvement behind its dark curtains. Number 5. Spectral Souls, Resurrection of the Ethereal Empires. So, what could be harder than Nocturne? Another strategy RPG. This time one of the classics from Idea Factory and one of my favorite RPGs for the PSP. It's one of those games that start off pretty normal, as if it was your typical strategy RPG, but as you go on, yeah, it gets hard, then infernal, then impossible. I am not ashamed in the least to say that I used a cheat code to beat this game, because it requires heavy grinding skills more than anything else. Jesus! Of course you can customize weapons and armor or change between armies since you play as 3 different ones, but that doesn't change the fact that, like many other Idea Factory games, you will enter a grind fest. But of course, if you're a master strategist, you can always just beat the game with your eyes closed, right? Nothing special to emphasize here besides the fact that you also apply combos to fight, and if you include some of your characters in those combos, you can cause brutal damage to your enemies. The bosses, however, have like 1,000,000 HP, so yeah, it's a very hard game regardless of your tactical skills. Number 4. Breath of Fire, Dragon Quarter. Okay, so it's gonna be really hard to explain why this game is one of the hardest JRPGs I've ever played, because it also has one of the most bizarre, weird and unique gameplay systems ever made. With this footage, you can already tell it's one of those hard and unfair games, right? But you're probably thinking that if you grind or if you strategize more, you'll be fine. No, let me explain how this strange game works. First of all, there are no save points here. You get a limited amount of save tokens throughout the game, and if you use all of them, you're screwed having to play the rest of the game in one sitting. Of course you can create a temporary save slot at certain areas, but they vanish once you load them. Second, you cannot experience the whole game in a single playthrough. If you screw up even once, you will have to restart the entire game from the very beginning thanks to something called the scenario overlay system, because some important parts of the game are only unlocked by starting a brand new game carrying over items and skills. What the actual fuck, right? There's a whole lot more to it, and I know I only made the confusion worse, but I think the only way to find out how truly hard this game is, sadly, is to play it yourself. Good luck with that. Number 3, the 7th Saga for the Super Nintendo. So here's the legendary hardest Super Nintendo RPG ever made, and of course one of the hardest of all time. Why? Pretty simple. When they made this game in Japan, it was originally hard, but substantial, in other words, fair and square. However, there was a big problem in the localization when they brought it to North America. Somehow, they screwed up and made the game near to impossible. Way harder than originally intended. Remember what I said at the beginning about games in which you have to level up a lot and how those games don't count? I meant games in which it's possible to actually proceed by doing that. But in Spectral Souls, or worse, the 7th Saga, it's truly the only thing you can do in the entire game. They messed up this excellent RPG, and I say excellent because it looks so good and it plays so good, so fast-paced and addictive, that every once in a while, you won't notice at all that you have been grinding for hours. Only to find out in the end that some enemies or bosses can still kill you in one hit. Number 2, Devil Survivor 1 and 2 for the DS. I didn't know which one to put and in what order, so I decided to include both in the second place of this list, because these games are the exact definition of the Mortal Kombat word brutality. And I'm not talking about the 3DS ports where you can lower the difficulty. No sir, I'm showing you the Nintendo DS versions, the original ones, where you cannot lower it at all. So these are strategy RPGs with all the classic Shin Megami Tensei elements in which you control demons, fuse them or buy them to fight by your side. Once again, choosing which ones to use for every single mission in the games is absolutely crucial, and I cannot stress this out more since some missions are impossible to beat without the right demons. Fortunately, you can customize your main characters with something called the skill crack, which I think is also crucial to beat the games. So yeah, these are two of those RPGs that require the constant use of your head as deep as possible. I personally found the first one to be the hardest, but the second one doesn't stay behind at all. It is also an apocalyptic nightmare that in the end, you will find yourself ironically in love with them, because both games are extremely addictive and awesome. Number 1, Rondo of Swords, also for the DS. After replaying for a while all the games in this list, I decided that Rondo of Swords was the hardest of them all. So officially this has gotta be the hardest JRPG I have ever played in my life. I didn't even get halfway through this game. It's so damn hard that I lost my patience and all motivation within it to play it. Now don't take it the wrong way, I have praised this game before and it's totally a hidden gem, but the fact remains that it's also very brutal and unforgiving. Enough to say that you cannot grind at all in this game, and the only way to level up your characters is to do it by getting your strategy right within the entire mission. One single microscopic mistake will lead to your ruin. Your characters will die over and over again, losing all experience points, only so you can succeed with at least one character to move on to the next mission. I've already explained before how this game works, moving in squares and going through both allies and enemies, boosting status of the formers and attacking the latters. However, the main problem is precisely that you only get one chance per turn to do all this strange maneuvering, and if your character misses, or worse, is blocked, that character's turn is over and you're screwed. So it also involves RNG and some other tactical elements that only make the experience absolutely infernal. I really invite you to play this Master of Difficulty and share your thoughts on the comment section below. Okay guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Now it is time for you to talk about the hardest JRPGs you've ever played in your life in the comment section below. Let's discuss this topic as usual and have a conversation on the hardest games we've ever played. As usual, I want to thank you for watching this video. Don't forget that I always upload videos every Tuesday, Friday and Sunday. I also have a Patreon page in case you want to support me for as little as $1, because that will be helping me a lot and in order to increase my quality of these videos. So thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time.